Hey guys, it's VT Gamer Girl 11 back with Q&A number 2. Sorry it took forever to get this up, but here are the questions. I'm going to go ahead and get started. The first one, there's 10 questions again, and I will put them in the description below so you guys will know and don't have to remember them. The first one is, what got you into collecting? I've answered this question before with 49er Nation 1's questions, but what's got me into collecting is my grandpa and my grandma, basically, when I was about 5 years old, started buying me Nintendo, Super Nintendo, stuff along that line. I actually had a Sega Genesis at one point, but for some reason it decided to stop working like within 2 or 3 days, so I had to return it. And that's actually when I ended up getting the Super Nintendo instead. So that's kind of how I became a big Nintendo fan, I'm guessing. And pretty much also what got me into collecting specifically recently is watching other collectors' videos on YouTube. It just kind of got me into, hey, I got a lot of games, maybe I should start, showing them on YouTube. So I, that's pretty much why I started collecting. There's really no specific reason why. It's just I think it's something if you grow up with it, no matter like what it is. Like for example, I played basketball like my whole life pretty much. So I kind of grew up with that, and I grew up with video games, and just the stuff that you grow up with sticks with you. So that's one of the things that stuck with me was video games. So the second question is, what is your favorite season? And if you're wondering what I'm looking at, I have a paper with my answers on it. My favorite season is fall, and I would say fall because the weather's not too hot, it's not too cold. It's kind of like right there where I like it, and you also get, just pretty scenery and stuff around the area I live in. What is something also besides fall? I would have to say spring as well because it's also really pretty during the spring. But I like fall mainly because of the weather, and that's just the time of year I think that's the best around the area that I live in. What is something that pisses you off? Um, okay, I actually have two answers for this question. My number one thing that kind of pisses me off is when people don't use their blinkers. And I say this because really it doesn't take but 1 second to push the blinker up or down, left or right, to decide which way that you're going to go on the street, and it's safer. And I just think that when you don't use a blinker, you're being lazy, or you think that you own the road. And I can understand every now and then, you're having a bad day. I can understand that, but people around this area are constantly not using their blinkers, and it annoys the living crap out of me because it's really not that difficult. So that is my number one pet peeve. Um, Another thing that pisses me off is when people are constantly late. I cannot stand it when people say, "Oh, I'm going to get there at 5," and they end up getting there at 5:30 and still think they're on time. I've always been taught my whole life 15 minutes early is on time, and if you're 5 minutes early, you're late. So that's just something else that gets on my nerves. I have like a friend who's constantly late, and I can't stand it because pretty much you have to tell them an hour ahead of time when you actually want them to get there, just so they have a chance of actually getting there at the time that you actually wanted them to be there. So that would be another thing that pisses me off. The next question is, are you a morning or a night person? I'm definitely a night person. I stay up till like 4 o'clock in the morning normally, unless I have somewhere to be in the morning. Then I try to get myself to go to sleep by 1:30, but that's really, really hard to do because I'm just a night person. I always have been. I've never been a morning person. I have to drink a lot of coffee to wake myself up in the morning when I have to get up early, so definitely a night person. What is your favorite Mario Brothers character? Everybody watching this video that's seen my videos before knows that's Yoshi. What is your favorite Sonic character? That would be Knuckles, just because I've always liked Knuckles. I don't really know why. I've always liked his like attitude and just like his roles and stuff in the game. So that would have to be Knuckles. Reading or writing? Definitely writing. I hate reading. I only read when I have to read for school, and that's it. I've never been the type where they tell you to read chapters in a book and you actually go read the chapters. I've never been that type. I've always just gone through like the highlighted portions and the stuff that I know that I needed to know. I used to like reading actually a lot when I was a kid, but I think school kind of between middle school and high school kind of got me out of that phase. So now it's writing, but I've always liked writing. I've always been good at writing. Um, so I have to go with writing for that one. What is your favorite vacation memory? This one's kind of hard, but I did pick when I went to New York City and I went to the Empire State Building just because that view was amazing and I've always wanted to go on top of the Empire State Building and it took like forever for me to get there. And it actually was different than what I expected when I got there and when I got to the top and in the building and all that. So, and also being on top of the Empire State Building, if you haven't been to New York before, I mean, you can see pretty much all of New York. So it's kind of nice being up there. And they also give you this thing where if you want, you can listen to it, and it pretty much like tells you at each spot. There's different locations on the top of the building, and if you go to each spot, you can listen to this audio recording, and it tells you. I think it's just like extra. You have to pay extra for it, but it's like these little headphone things, and they tell you like here, over here is this, over there is where the World Trade Center was, over here is, different areas in New York, different things in New York, and it's kind of interesting. It kind of gives you like a historical perspective of the city, which is nice. And I'm not a big history person either, but I love New York, so that would have to be my favorite vacation memory. But I could probably pick a few others as well, but I'll go with that one. Do you collect anything else beside video games? Yes. Um, I don't know if I'm on the borderline to being a hoarder or not, but when I start collecting things, I don't stop. I used to collect polar bears. I actually have kind of stopped with that, but I mean, it took me years and years and years to stop. You can probably see in the background some of them that are still back there. I've just always been into polar bears, always liked polar bears, and even the dog that I have now kind of looks like a polar bear. So that's one thing that I did collect. I don't collect anymore. Um, as you can also see around my room, Virginia Tech stuff is something I collect, obviously. And I also do collect Maryland stuff because I do like Maryland basketball as well as Virginia Tech basketball. So, um, I also collect Maryland stuff. Other than that, I do collect like New York stuff as well, but not as much because there's really not that much to collect around here. When I only went to New York. I've only been to New York twice, but when I go there, I do buy stuff like snow globes and you know when I see a poster of New York or something, I'd like to buy it. But the problem with where I'm at is there's really nowhere to put posters, so I do have two actually that you will see when I do my room tour of New York. So I guess you can count that in there as well. And also recently I've been collecting like craft stuff because I like to do crafts. So that's something else as well. I might actually add a section to my. I don't know if I'm gonna start a new YouTube channel, which I probably won't because I'm too lazy, or just add it to this channel. But I'm gonna start doing like crafts and stuff like that as well, just because I'm also into that. But the video game stuff will still be up just as much as the craft stuff, so don't worry about that. And the last question is, if you can pick a foreign country to move to, where would you move? Um, there's actually two places I came up with. One is Australia, just because I always wanted to go to Australia. Um, I don't know. I think like all the people down there are nice, and it's just a nice, pretty area to live, I guess. So I would go with Australia, but also Scotland as well, because that's like where a lot of my ancestors are from, and I just always wanted to visit there as well. And I just love Scotland. I actually have like in the past have collected like a few things that I've gotten. Not I've never been like overseas anywhere, but like from the stores that sell like foreign stuff. I've gotten like a Scotland flag and a Scotland sticker and different things that I don't really have anymore. I think I still have the flag. It's up here in my window, but you can't see it. But so that would be the other country. So sorry this video is kind of off. I'm kind of rushing because I have class in like an hour and a half. And I have to study for my test that I have not studied for. So I wanted to get this video out of the way. And so there are 10 questions, and I will put these all in the description below. And if you want to make a video response, it'll be great. I love your video responses. I appreciate every single one of you that do make a video response, and also your comments as well if you just want to, answer one or two questions, or if you want to answer all of them in a comment, you can do that as well. So just whatever you feel like doing, go for it. And I hope you guys have a great, wonderful day. And I am making progress on my room. I've only got like one or two sections left that I have to fix up before I will do my room tour. So after I get those fixed up, I will do my room tour, and you guys will see pretty much a lot of things that I talked about in this video. So thank you guys for watching, and have a great day.